Like, we're Ellen, you know?
Okay. You're Ellen.
I'm Ellen.
Okay, I'll be Oprah.
There's this theme in our society that we all need to find a job that reflects our passion. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And a lot of people seem to have figured that out and always have. It's like they came out of the womb knowing exactly what they want to do with their lives and knew exactly which steps it would take to get there. But what about the rest of us who have no fucking clue what we're supposed to do? What if we don't even know what we love? What if we don't know what our passion is? What if we have a lot of passions and we don't even know where to start? That was me. I liked a lot of things, so I've tried everything, failed at a lot of things, and even though I finally feel like I'm on the right path, I still don't really know what I want to be when I quote-unquote grow up. My guest today is somebody like me. She has tried everything from kinesiology to dance to yoga, and most recently she became certified as a life coach. Because what April Miranda knows is that life can take you on a long and twisty path, and your purpose isn't always handed to you on a piece of paper. Sometimes it takes a little bit more discovery and experimentation to get there, and that's okay too. And April goes deep. She starts talking about avatars and shit, you guys. So for those of you who don't know, April Miranda is a yoga teacher turned master healer. She is originally from Calgary but has lived here in Toronto for 8 years now. We met when I was working at my previous job and she was our weekly lunchtime yoga instructor. Immediately I was drawn to her energy and I began to look forward to her classes every week. But April was not always a yoga instructor. She studied kinesiology in university and has past experience as a dancer, an actor, and so much more. She recently became certified in NLP and is embarking on a new journey as a master healer. Today, we're going to talk about finding your purpose and uncovering your passions, because I know so many people who don't even know what their passion is, let alone how to find work in that field. It isn't always linear and not everybody has it figured out right off the bat. And what it all boils down to is that you can't be afraid to try, to take the leap, and that you just have to fucking start.
Yeah.
Okay, should we just jump into it?
Should we just jump into it? Okay.
So today's episode, what we're talking with April about is finding your purpose. Because I feel like I know a lot of people who have struggled with this, who have been like, you know what, I don't love my job. I'm not happy working 9 to 5. I don't.
Time out. Do we look at the camera or do we look at each other?
Look at the camera, whatever we want. It's like we're on Ellen, you know?
Okay. You're Ellen.
I'm Ellen.
Okay, I'll be Oprah.
You're Oprah. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so as I was saying, we're talking about finding your purpose, because I know a lot of people who are either in a 9 to 5 job and they're not happy, but they don't really know what they want to do. They want to quit their job, but they don't know what else they're supposed to do, or how do you get started? Maybe they want to start a side hustle, but they're stuck because they just don't really know how to tap into these skills. And I think it's really common, and a lot of people are going through that. I know that I went through it, even even still today, all the time, I'm trying to reinvent myself or come up with something new. I've done so many different things, from working in music to working in social media, and now I'm kind of okay, what's the next thing? Now I'm working on my own, and I'm getting by, but it's am I really aligned with my purpose? I don't know. I'm still experimenting with that. So that's why I thought you would be a perfect person to talk to, because I know you have experience in kinesiology and yoga, dance, acting, and now you're doing your NLP, you're becoming a master healer, and you're doing all kinds of amazing things. So I kind of just wanted to hear your story.
Okay.
So I guess...
It's a wild story.
Yeah.
Where do we begin?
I think the first... I've heard your story about how you became a yoga teacher, and I think that's a really interesting story, and I would love for you to... Because you resisted it for so long, it was you didn't even want to do it. So I think I would love for you to tell that story to start.
Okay. Yeah, so I was in LA. I thought, the vision was to become a professional dancer. Mm-hmm. So I went to LA. And then I was there for a month and a bit, and then I found out or heard that So You Think You Could Dance Canada was going to do a tour in Canada. So I was in LA, I'm okay, I'm Canadian. Yeah. This seems like something I must audition for.
Gotta go.
And so I was my sister lives in LA, so I was choreographing in her kitchen. Mm-hmm. And then I was okay, I need space. I need space to choreograph. I need space to create. And then I was thinking about do I rent a studio? I was just thinking okay, I'll just go back to Calgary, because I had a friend who owned a yoga studio.
Okay. Perfect.
So I'm okay, let's go Hi, Frank, the owner of Sanguine Yoga. Thank you for opening up Sanguine Yoga. So there was like space between like the lunchtime flow and the afternoon, evening flow. So I would use the yoga space during like 1 to 4 just to choreograph. And I loved it. So I was choreographing for my audition pieces for So You Think You Could Dance. I remember just like being there and I would look at the mirror like the mirrors are kind of dirty. And I just told Frank, I can help.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want me to help me? I'm like, do you want me to help you clean? Because it'll be like a nice exchange for you to let me use the studio for free. And so I joined the Karma team, which is like the energy exchange program.
Right.
You help clean, you do the desk, and you get free yoga. And so I joined the Karma team, and Frank was like, okay, why don't you take a yoga class?
Yeah.
He was like, you get it for free. I'm like, okay. You know?
Try it out.
Let's try it out. And the first 3 times I tried yoga, I hated it. I was just like, why are we holding this pose for so long? And I would get angry, or me being the dancer would like hold the pose with like fullest expression of my flexibility, and like, oh, we're holding it, and I would have to like release it. It was like for Warrior 2. I'm like, oh, it takes more muscles and just drop into the full range of motion.
Yeah.
And then there was like a 30-day challenge. And then I'm like, okay. So my ego was like, okay, let's see if I can do this. And so my ego chose into the 30-day challenge. And then I even brought my friend Reggie and Carmel and my boyfriend at the time. So it was like holding each other accountable. And then when I did the 30-day challenge, that's when I fell in love with the yoga. Like when I fell in love with like, oh, I get it. Like I started to feel good. Okay, so then I discovered the benefits of yoga. So I started developing a practice. And then 2 different yoga teachers in Calgary, Ning and Kate, they're like, when are you going to start teaching yoga? And I'm like, no, not my path. Like, I am like, my energy is too crazy. I wouldn't be able to hold this sacred space for anyone. And so 2 separate times I said no. I kindly declined. And yeah, so I moved to New York and did some stuff there. And then I'm like, okay. I moved to Toronto. There's so many stories.
You're all over the map. Literally.
All over the map. So I decided to move to Toronto because I would stay in my country.
That's easy.
So I didn't want to be an illegal alien in LA or New York. Stay in my country. Like, okay, let's move to Toronto.
Yeah.
And then so I was exploring the entertainment industry. Oh, it's like the dance world, the acting world, but also navigating my 20s in a new city. You're from Edmonton. Like, the transition into the city. So that was a whole adventure. So yoga kept me sane. So I just kept showing up to my mat, like, despite what my reality was going on, with what my bank account or like my sanity, finding a home, finding a job, just seeing where your next paycheck would come from. Yoga is what kept me sane, kept me grounded. And I remember one yoga class, it was an Adam Bolton restorative yoga class, and I was just like, before the practice, like, okay, angels, I'm like, tell me what's next. Because I just didn't know. Times when I just felt lost. And then at the end of the practice, Adam came up to me and asked, when are you going to start teaching? And I was like, okay. So hearing the call for the 3rd time, 3 different teachers, 3 separate times, and my friend Reggie Tan Chavez, he was there. Listen, he was there as an observer those 3 separate times. And he's like, I think I've heard this before. Yeah. And then I just was clear. I'm like, okay, let's do my yoga teacher training. So I just knew that was the next step. Yeah. And then the rest is history. Like, it was like one of the best things I ever done for myself. Like, physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically. I transformed on the mat and off the mat.
And you're like, it seems so natural to you now. It's just like who you've always been.
Yeah, it just feels so good in my skin to just hold space. I get to be creative. I get to, I get to guide these yogis, these bodies in front of me towards their comfort zone and play with the edges, but also like bring that self-awareness on their mat. And hopefully I like planting seeds that will support them off the mat as well.
Yeah, and then it still ties into the dance, like being physical and movement and all of that. So it's not a total, shift away from what you were already doing. It's
true,
just
and
like a little curve.
Yeah, and I got my kinesiology degree, so the art and science of human movement, and I thought I was going to be a phys ed teacher. So I'm like, if I could teach dance, I could teach any movement. Yeah. Which cracks me up because I'm like...
Like, imagine you being a phys ed
Imagine me, like, dribbling a ball or organizing wrestling matches. And I
coaching the basketball.
Oh man, I'm the one. But I just knew, like, during my university days, I'm like, okay, I'd be ripping the kids off. I'd be ripping myself off.
Yeah.
But it's funny that, like, I thought I was going to teach physical activity, but I end up teaching movement anyway. So it's like funny how it just comes back. Like, you be a dance teacher, and then a visit teacher, and then yoga.
Yeah, so still, like, staying true to that core.
Yeah. So I guess that's the story, how I became a yoga teacher.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And now you're doing NLP, so can we talk about that? Like,
okay.
You're now a master healer.
Oh. Well, the master healer, that's with Reiki.
Right, okay.
So Reiki, so I did my Reiki level 1, 2, and 3 with Tasha Rook. But that was, like, an interesting story because sometimes being on my yoga mat just, you know, when it just, you didn't quite feel back to homeostasis. And then I went to restorative class with Reiki, with Sarah Moncrief, with Tara Good, like, and Tasha Rook, and they would be these tangible experiences, like, that I would feel within my body. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember Tara would be holding my hand, it'd be, like, tingly, like, electric, like, all over my body. And then I remember her putting her hands on my thighs, and it'd be, like, a cooling sensation. Wow. And I would hear my belly go blub, 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 blub. And I'm like, what is going on? And then she put her hands here and here, and then I just started crying. And I didn't even know why. Wow. I was like, what is this? And I would want to, like, you know, as our ego wants to just articulate or explain why or categorize. Mm-hmm. And I would Google, wouldn't get my answers, and she would just like, oh, just let stuff pass, just energy moving through. Right. And so I would Google, not get my answer, I'm like, okay, I just got to do the training. So I did Reiki level 1. Then I was like kind of like her intern, helping a sister class. She, okay, do you want to do Reiki level 2? We get a little discount. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm like, regular level 3. I'm like, oh, might as well keep going. Yeah. So doing my Reiki master level. So now I am attuned to do attunements for those who do want to get Reiki level 1 and 2. So I can't even hold trainings. Oh, wow. So that's how you get the title of a master healer. Right. And then with the NLP, so Tasha Rook introduced me to Dr. Yvonne Oswald, and I did a class with her in October, and then just last month she sent an email about life coach certification program with NLP practitioner training. I'm like, what's that? Mm-hmm. I didn't even know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I'm like, but for some reason I felt the call. Mm-hmm. For some reason I felt the call to... And you trusted her. I trusted my teachers. Right. So Jaya Lee was, training with her, and Tasha Rook, like, they trained with her. So these are, like, teachers that I look up to. So I'm like, okay, if they trained with Dr. Yvonne, I'm going to train with Dr. Yvonne. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like a last-minute thing. And I'm like, okay, let's just see if the stars align. And so, like, accommodation was taken care of because we could stay at her house. It was nice. So I felt like it was like this incubator of space to just us to transform. Right. Jiley was going to drive me there. I was like, okay, let's see if I could find subs for my classes. And it was just so easy. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I am meant to go. Sometimes you have to listen when those things are so easy. It's man, I felt like the universe was like, okay, go. Like, this is the next step. But I guess I was curious about NLP because I guess with, like, learning or Googling it, I'm like, okay, like, listening to, or it's like how we receive messages, like through sight, through sound, through how we smell, our taste buds, and, like, our language. It's like our body language. We receive messages through our eyes, so it's like how our brain receives messages and how we receive, like, I guess how we communicate. Right. And then with the program, it's like we're learning how to program. We're learning how it's like finding these success strategies that are effective using the language that the brain uses. Right. And so I guess I was drawn to it because, I would feel strong physically, but there were times when I guess mentally, I was just like, what is up? Right. There were times when I'm like, I don't know what's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I would do the work, use my meditations, go to my yoga mat, hang out with friends, like, talk it out. Like, I would do everything under the sun looking to find tools to help me, like perhaps it was the winter or the seasonal depression, but it was like anxiety and depression was never in my vocabulary before. And like, I'm getting emotional saying it out loud because I'm like, like, it is a real thing. Like, mental illness. I just want to call it like mental awareness, mental health. Like it is, it needs to be normal. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Because I wasn't expecting to cry.
Yeah, April.
You know, because it was for someone who does hold space, for someone who elevates their energy. Like there were times when I felt like, who am I to do that? And so like
Doubting yourself.
oh gosh, yeah. So the NLP certification program, it's like I wanted to get tools for me. You know, I wanted to get tools for me because I'm like, okay, let's see how this brain works. Let's talk to it. Let's talk to it in its language. And so that weekend, it was just last month. So with Dr. Yvonne, we went to her home and it was transformational. Like it was 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in her home. It was like with 5 other beautiful souls, different walks of life. And I felt like it was like a cocoon. Like I felt like through our lives, we were these caterpillars exploring. And then that was the cocoon, like the chrysalis. And then now I just feel so ready to fly.
Yeah.
Like I feel so on path, so on purpose to share these tools that I now have.
Yeah.
So now I have yoga to share. I have Reiki to share. But the Neurolinguistics programming just takes it up a couple hundred notches when it doesn't need to be hard. And I think that's the story. That's the drama that I guess we bought into.
Yeah.
That it has to be hard, it has to be dramatic. It is part of this human experience that we all chose into. And now I feel well equipped to share. I think that's why I want to help, whether it's goal coaching, whether it is reducing limiting beliefs, whether it is dealing with anxiety, depression, suicide, like dealing with stuff in your childhood, different stuff with your past life. Like I just feel equipped. If anyone feels stuck, feels unmotivated, feels lazy, or just unclear, confused, I feel as I have tools to support, to help people get into alignment and elevate and have them evolve to their fullest expression.
And you have that life experience of going through it all yourself too, which I think is essential.
It's essential.
Yeah, and you know what it's like to be confused or be unsure, and to listen to those signs and those symbols and follow them.
Oh gosh.
Rather than resisting it and sticking to what you hate because it's safe or because it's what you think you're supposed to be doing. And I guess that's there's this huge stigma around quitting or changing paths. Maybe you did a university degree and now you're not sure that that's really what you want to do your job in. So maybe you want to go back to school, or maybe you're mid-school and you want to switch courses and change things, or maybe you've been working in the same job for 5 years but it makes you sick and you hate it and you want to quit. What would you tell people who are just resistant of taking that step, or worried about what people will think, or what your parents are going to say, people that have invested in you? That's something that I always deal with. I've had help from my family, and I don't want anyone to be disappointed in me because I've changed my mind, or to think that I'm flaky, or just doing whatever I feel like, living in the moment. There is a negative stigma attached to that.
Well, we are dynamic beings.
Yeah.
And I think the fear of disapproval, the fear of judgment, the fear of loss of love, the fear of abandonment, those fears, I believe, is what keeps people stuck. I feel those fears is what keeps people stagnant, keeps people safe, or because they'd rather stay safe and cozy because they are still loved, they are well liked, everything is working on paper.
Yeah.
But that fear of judgment can hold them back from exploring what their soul really wants to do. So with the stigma of quitting, don't even think of it as quitting, just a change of direction. When I was clear that I wasn't going to be a phys ed teacher, I was just okay, this isn't for me. And then I'm okay, my education courses are equivalent to my kinesiology courses. Oh, I graduated! Yay! I got a degree! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just clear that I wanted to dance.
Yeah.
And then I guess I just took action. I was like, I had a dance studio that was getting handed to me. This was when I was 22. I had this other fitness facility. It was like a little private boutique that was getting handed to me. And I was just like, I had the fear of being stuck to a brick and mortar business in Calgary, Alberta. I was just like, it's like I knew my soul just wanted to explore. I knew my soul just wanted to fly. And then I started taking acting lessons. So even that, like, people know me as a dancer. I did this since I was 4. So my whole Calgary network knows me as a dancer. And when I was like, I'm going to Toronto to act, they're like, oh, she's an actor now. You know what I mean? Like, because I just wanted to use this whole instrument. Like, okay, if I can move audiences with just my movement, like, what would I be able to do if I used my voice, if I used all languages of communication? But, like, and it's just so funny because with all of the changes that I've had in my life, because I was telling you earlier that I applied to be a WestJet flight attendant 3 times. Denied. I had references, so many friends that worked there, and just, nope, not meant to do that.
Not meant to do it.
I used to work for Lululemon. I applied to be a key leader 3 times. Nope, okay. So it's not, I think with me, it's not quitting. It's just kind of like saying, like, okay, is this a fit or not? And I think only you can have that conversation with you. Like, is it a fit or not? Now I'm like just saying, like, okay, it's either a vibrational match or not. And so it's like now I look back, I'm like, wow, thank God I didn't get that job at WestJet, or thank God I didn't get that job at Lululemon, because it would have changed my path completely. I wouldn't have felt those moments of rejection and self-doubt and confusion, and to be like, to get and figure out the tools to get myself back up. But I feel as though it's like the universe being like, oh, okay, that doesn't work. That, like, I feel as though it's like these outside forces that guide us to where we were meant to go.
And you can't look at any of that, like, those costs or those, the things that you did in the past as, like, a waste, because they're not a waste. It's, every university course, even if it was expensive, I still have student debt, but it's like, I learned so much in my time there, and I found cool people, that I'm still friends with to this day, and I learned a lot about myself in that time. So it's like,
oh my
even
gosh.
though, I don't know if I told you this, but my degree is in linguistics, and, like, certainly I did not go on to become a linguist, but I think just, like, everything that I learned in that time there kind of, like, led me to where I'm supposed to be.
And that's what's so cool, because I think it's a Steve Jobs quote. Like, you can't connect the dots looking forward.
Right.
And you can only connect the dots when you look back.
Yeah,
and
that's
I had this conversation the other day. It was like, when you actually look back and see, like, oh, like, if that person didn't wear that T-shirt, like when I heard the call to go to New York. My boyfriend at the time was wearing the I Love New York shirt that I bought him. My brother was wearing the I Love New York shirt that I bought him. And it was after I got cut from So You Think You Could Dance, I was just like, ugh. Well, now what, angels? You know what I mean? And I remember looking at my boyfriend. He was wearing the shirt. I was just like, oh, that's the shirt my brother was wearing. I was like, okay. So it's like those little signs. So if I didn't even see that sign, then I wouldn't have gone to New York, and that's part of the journey. Or if those yoga teachers didn't say that. Or even, like, different songs that inspire you, people that you meet, different conversations that you have with different people. Like, you don't notice that in the moment. But when you look back, like, oh, that really inspired a thought. That conversation, that shirt, that song, that conversation. When I got laid off, when I got chopped there, when when that person broke up with me, that person broke up my heart. Like, it's like all this stuff to get tools to just get you well equipped to where you're really supposed to go.
All of those rejections are just actually just shifts, like, pointing you in the right direction.
And I feel
steering
because
you out of the way.
It's true, and I feel because we do have free will. We can choose to go this way, you get to do that way, you get to stay in your job, not go be an entrepreneur or not. But I feel as though for us, with our free will, we have the choice to create what we want to create.
We do.
And we see the signs, and we have a choice to listen to it or not. Because I could see that in New York, I'm like, okay, cool. Or I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I
you can
have
ignore it.
debt. I should, all the time, money, all those excuses could hold anyone back. Yeah, time and money seem to be the biggest obstacles.
And fear.
Right? Oh gosh, but time is an
failure.
illusion. Oh yeah, but time is an illusion.
Social construction.
And then money's just energy. Like now,
Yeah.
I see money as like, oh, it's just an exchange of energy. Like it's really neutral. It doesn't have feelings.
No.
It's like abundantly there for us. We just have to call it in.
As quickly as you spend it, you can earn it.
It's true. And like when I just want to tell a quick story of manifestation.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, like last year when my landlord kicked me out, just like, okay, that wasn't in the cards. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I had this trip planned, and so I didn't have a move planned in the budget. And then I was like, okay, angels, I need money. I didn't have this planned. And I booked 3 acting gigs. They were like,
you got this.
You got this.
Yeah.
And they were like, cute little one-liners here and there. Like, there's even one audition that I missed because I was in survival mode, looking for my home. And my agent was like, okay, did you go to the audition? I'm like, I totally forgot. I'm like, I was in survival mode. I was looking at places. He's like, okay, what am I going to tell them? I'm like, oh, I got sick, And he's like, oh, that's what we always say. And then he's like, okay, they want to see a self-tape. And I'm like, okay, so after one of my corporate yoga classes, I asked one of the yogis, I'm like, can you just film me? I'm like, you do this line, I do this line, and that's it.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. So we filmed it in the girls' bathroom because it was the white background.
Oh my God.
And I submitted it to my agent. Like, okay, here we go. And then I got the role. So I'm like, okay, thanks, angels. So it was like I called in. I was ready to receive money because for this move, and it's like you manifested in ways that you least expected.
Yeah.
So it's like taking inspired action, even if you feel fear of not having enough. Like, okay, just keep going. And then the universe tends to surprise and delight you. I think you just have to be open and ready to receive these signs.
Totally. It points you in the right direction. So I want to talk quickly too about a different stigma that is always there, which is having that side job or the job that pays the bills, basically. You've talked a lot about working at Lululemon, and even though that isn't really part of your career path, I do think it's so funny to me how you constantly talk about people from Lululemon, you're still friends with everybody you've ever worked with there.
Yes.
And every part of your story, it's somebody from Lululemon put me here, and somebody from Lululemon recommended me here, and I used to work with, or I lived with a Lulu person. Your entire story revolves around Lululemon, and I think that's so crucial that people don't have that shame of oh, I do have even though I want to be an artiste, I have this job that pays the bills, and that's okay too. You don't need, there's no shame in having a full-time job.
Oh no.
While you are an artist on the side. It doesn't make you less of an artist or less of a creative or whatever.
It's true. Yeah, Lululemon has definitely helped shape who I am today. If it wasn't for Lulu, I probably wouldn't be a yoga teacher. Because of the benefits program. I got to do yoga and explore different teachers, different studios, and build a network that way. But I was started at Lululemon in Calgary, and I remember.
Were you still in school at the time?
Oh, when did I start Lululemon? No, I graduated already.
Oh, okay, you were just acting, or
okay, it was after I was in LA, I was in New York, and I'm okay, let's go back home because I was running out of money and the New York story, that's another episode.
Okay.
Anyways, back to Calgary, Alberta.
Yeah.
After doing LA, New York, and I was like, okay. And I had a friend who, I was working at the Keg at the time because I'm like, I need to make money. So I had a friend who got me a job at the Keg. And then one of my friends, Jenna May, she started working at Lululemon. And then we kind of helped. I got her a job at the Keg, and she helped me get a job at Lululemon. And so we called ourselves lemon keggers, which was crazy because we were like active living by day, and then selling steak and wine at night.
Living the good life,
right? But yeah, so that's where my journey with Lululemon started. And I remember they have a beautiful. That's where they started doing the goal coaching, goal setting.
Right.
And I'm like, this is a company that sells stretchy pants, and they're they care about my goals outside of this.
Yeah.
And so I remember setting goals, and it was okay, it was to still dance, it was still to perform.
Yeah.
And then I was clear that I wanted to go to Toronto. So I told my manager at the time, Lindsay White O'Neill, and I was like, I want to move to Toronto. She's like, okay, when? I was like, oh, okay. Like, so just to have that unconditional support.
Yeah, that's hard to find in an
Oh,
employer.
I know. So she had definitely has a special place in my heart. And yeah, so she like made the connection. So I got a job at Lululemon at the Cumberland location. I don't know if I'm supposed to say. Oh well, I was there. So the Cumberland location, which was just part-time, but then I started doing like background work and catering stuff and like, and still trying to figure out like,
Yeah.
oh goodness, I had like weird random jobs.
Yeah. Just trying to make it work.
Trying to make it work in Toronto.
Trying to scrape by. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I left the company because I'm like, I want to focus on acting.
Yeah.
But then it was a bit of a struggle because like doing background work, and I would look at my calendar and be like, I don't know when my next paycheck is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like working at this bar, and I had to wear this outfit, like this corset and black skirt and heels, and my friend Reggie, he's an angel. He knows that.
Yeah.
He was also working at Lululemon. He's also from Calgary.
Of course.
And also the angel that was there for the 3 different yoga teachers. And he's like, what do you need to wear? He's like, okay, you're coming to this group interview at Lululemon.
Yeah.
And so I went back to the company
Yeah.
and like became a full-time employee. I'm like, okay, I can breathe. I could pay for rent. I could pay for my phone bill. Like my phone bill was like cut off because I couldn't.
No.
So that was part of the story. But I was just like, okay, so I was so grateful that I had Lululemon. It was like, and it ended up being my family.
Yeah.
Like it's such a beautiful community. Like, yeah, I still talk to them. Like, oh my goodness, they're like my Toronto family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
so nice.
so I was there for like 5 years, and then my yoga teaching schedule was just building. And then it was time to like, okay, choose, because I didn't want to half-ass Lululemon, didn't want to half-ass the teaching, so I chose to jump. I chose to fly, and it's been like a year and a half, and it's been exciting. Like when I did my first show, I'm like, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I was so flipping proud of myself. So let go of that stigma of like, okay, you need to be able to feed yourself. You need to be responsible
Yeah.
as an artiste,
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur. Like, be sure you can pay for your home. Be sure you can pay to feed yourself. Like, yeah, no need to be luxurious. Like, if you need a roommate, have a roommate. If you need to not buy fancy coffees, don't do it.
Yeah.
But, like, if you need that to sustain your hustle or survival,
Yeah.
I encourage it.
Yeah.
Like, no need to be a starving artist,
No, I don't like that.
because then you're in survival mode.
Yeah, there's this quote by Elizabeth Gilbert. She's the writer Eat, Pray, Love. That people don't know who she is, but she wrote this book called Big Magic as well.
I read it.
Oh, I love it. Yes. So the part where she says, like, don't put that much pressure on your art to, like, sustain you. Like, that's not fair to your art. So, like, take that pressure away. Do what you got to do to survive.
And I love her story. She totally talked about that.
Yeah, and then put the rest of that energy into being creative.
Because it's true. Like, when you're in survival mode, that's where your energy goes.
Yeah, like, exactly. You have to just, like, focus on staying alive. And, like, there's nothing embarrassing about that. Like, I think all of, like, the greats have, worked as servers or worked in retail or done whatever. Just, you have to do to get by.
You have to. Yeah.
It makes you stronger for it in the end, I think.
Pardon?
It makes you stronger for it in the end.
100%. Yeah, and it'll makes the journey worth it.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Totally. And so on that note, we also talked about, I mean, you and I had this conversation a while ago, but about how life isn't not necessarily about discovering who you are, but about remembering who you are.
Yes.
So the more you explore your passions and like dive deep into that journey, maybe you're not so much like finding things out, but actually remembering like your childhood self, or like, as you've, talked about, like past lives and ancestral trauma and all of that.
Oh my goodness.
So can you tell me a little bit more about
Whew.
that?
Yeah. So when it was like a realization that it was like, because we were born on this planet, we were like born into this government. We were born into maybe a religion. We were born into this family. Like, it's like being born with a set of goggles.
Yeah.
And being like, okay, this is what I know what is true. And we look up to our parents for survival because they provide food, shelter, and clothing. And we look to our teachers because, like, oh, you're right, you're wrong. Like, we look up to these people because they are the authorities. They're the ones that hold space and nurture us. But then when you become, I guess, an adult and you start to question, like, what is true? What is real? Then you're like, it gets interesting. Like when you take off that set of goggles, like, oh, what if I looked at it a different way? What if you just start inquiring and staying curious is something that I like to say. Even on your yoga, I'm like, okay, stay curious. Move towards the sensation versus moving away from it. So in the path of discovering, I think that's what makes life such an interesting journey because we are born. Okay, because I'm clear that we did choose in. We did choose in to come to this planet. You know what I mean? Like we were these divine souls, and Earth needed help, and we volunteered. Okay, okay.
That's what we got here.
Just getting right into it.
Yeah.
So that's what I have grown to believe with how I just got curious and started to discover things. And so when we're born on planet Earth, it's like we wake up forgetting our mission. We come onto the planet, okay, like learn how to walk, learn how to talk, go to the school system, go get good grades, go to university, get a job, get married, the checklist, like go through the checklist because that's what we know. Oops.
It's okay.
Hand talker. Where'd it go? It's still there.
It's still attached to you. There we go.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll just talk like this.
Yeah.
So we are born forgetting our mission. And I feel as though the experiences that we go through help us remember. And so I feel everything is divine. You know, like, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Because no matter, because I think I'm like thinking about those people who have hard upbringings or difficult childhoods, you know what I mean? Like, I've been quite blessed, you know, having a beautiful childhood and all the extracurricular to keep me out of trouble and, you know, falling in love with dance. But I'm like, I guess I'm getting emotional because I'm thinking about those who have hard upbringings, but I'm like, okay, everything is divine because it's like, I feel as though that is actually the fast track to remember.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, do you know Wayne Dyer?
No.
Oh, okay, Wayne Dyer.
Oh, I know Wayne Dyer. I thought you said Ann Dyer. Sorry.
Oh, okay, Wayne. Oh,
Wayne.
Wayne Dyer.
I know Wayne.
Yeah.
I know the guy.
Good homie. Cool. Yeah, but so his books and the stuff that he would say, like, he was put in foster homes. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh yeah, like, and he just found his leadership skills by being like the foster kid, like picking up, you know, like he would pick up the bottles, like I could get 5 cents for this. Like he would get bottles from a place. So he just started being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He was one that kept his spirits up. But I'm like, I feel as though these experiences are just learning experiences so we remember who we are. Do you know what I mean? And I think for some of us it takes us longer than others because the goggles that we have on.
Yeah. Totally.
Right?
Everything we're being forced into.
Yes, forced into. And when you realize, like, okay, I am responsible. I'm accountable for my reality. I can choose differently. And then that's when I feel as though you take your power back.
Totally.
And I guess it's just interesting because I'm like, when you're talking about how yoga comes naturally, but I denied it like so many times. And no. And then, like, with the Reiki, it's like, I never saw this stuff coming. Like, I moved to Toronto to become a star. You know what I mean? In the entertainment industry and film and television. And, but I guess I still want to tell stories. I still want to, like, the reason why I wanted to become a famous actress was to tell stories to inspire people to become their fullest expression in this lifetime.
Right.
And then I still feel that I can do that in my yoga classes, just to inspire in these little tidbits of knowledge, tidbits of love to develop their self-awareness. I think that's what I want to just like develop the self-awareness because I think it starts there.
Right.
Because when you start to be aware of yourself, you start to explore, you start to discover, of course, the compassion, the forgiveness, and then self-love.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's like, so I didn't see myself become a yoga teacher, and that happened. Now I'm doing that full time. Didn't see my... Oops, excuse me.
Just energy.
The energy's flowing. Just energy. It's It's true. Just flow.
Yeah,
just flow. Didn't see myself become a Reiki master, and that happened so easily. And then the life coach NLP practitioner, like, never saw that coming, but it feels so right.
Right.
And then when it was at Dr. Yvonne's weekend immersion transformation, I don't even know what to call it.
Right.
Like, certification course is...
No.
It doesn't give it justice.
It was like a renaissance.
It was like a rebirth. It was a reawakening. It was a weekend of transformation.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyways, I just, she was like, oh, I just told her. I'm like, Dr. Yvonne, I'm like, I don't know what to put on my website, my business card. And she's like, well, she said it so clearly. She's like, you're a master healer, teacher, life coach, NLP practitioner. But she said it so fast. She's like, well, you're a master healer, teacher, NLP practitioner, life coach. I'm like, I am. And I wrote down master healer and teacher. And I just looked at my notebook. I was just like, I remember.
It's me.
And it was just like, and I felt like so clear.
Yeah.
I felt so in alignment. I felt like my angels were watching her. I'm like, yeah, she remembers. Like, I feel as though we all have an entourage of angels.
Yeah.
And I actually feel they're the ones that are planting these signs, these experiences, these people wearing these t-shirts, these songs, these divine souls to, like, help us find our way.
Right.
To remember why we are here.
What we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I do feel we are all here to share our talents, to share our time, to share our stories, to inspire others to do the same thing. So whether it's through audio, whether it's through the written word, whether it's through video, whether it's through art, whether it's through, who knows what you want to create. But I think it is for us to to get into alignment to what is true, to be able to fully express what we came to do. I didn't mean to rhyme, but it happened. And I guess that is what I'm so clear on. Like, so I feel so clear that I'm here to align everyone's, like, I want to align people to what is true to their heart, true to their mind. I want to, like, activate their life force and, like, take their power back. You know what I mean? Like, to share and drop knowledge. Like, no, you have the power to control what you want. You have the power to create the life that you want. No need to be victim to your circumstances. And playing the victim card is so easy to do. It's safe. It's cozy. You could point the fingers at the parents, the job, the illness, the whatever, the weather, you know? And so I just want to, like, hold space for that. So get in alignment, activate their life force, get their power back, and help teach all my tools on how to become the magnetic creator that they were born to be.
Yeah. And maybe now is a good time to pitch your course.
Okay.
Because April has a 7-week program right now. I'll let you give the elevator pitch. I think you just did.
So now that I'm clear that I have these tools, these modalities, these healing modalities, these different tricks, that I have put together this package, this workshop series, this course that, like, just to get people in alignment, to, like, and I want to, it's going to be a goal setting, right? It's going to be a mastermind. It's going to be, like, infusing the yoga, Reiki, and NLP. So I want to create that sense of community. Like, so we could do this as a group and also one-on-one is what the plan of attack is. And I'm here to support anyone who feels called to, anyone who feels guided to step into their light, who I want to deal with those people who are ready to transform. Do you know what I mean? I want to find those souls who are ready to activate, those who are ready to, like, find their life force, those who are ready to step up, level up, and play big.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, those are the souls that I'm calling in.
Yeah. Okay, where can they register if they want to sign up?
aprilmiranda.com.
aprilmiranda.com. Okay, one more question before we go. So, what advice would you give for people who are stuck in their career, they want to make a change, they don't even know what they want to do or where to even start? What do you tell them to do? How do they find their passion and their purpose?
My advice to those who feel stuck: stay curious. Inquire, question, and investigate.
Try things.
Try things. Like, we are these avatars navigating being a human on this planet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, just get curious. Like, so, like, find a course. Maybe even as, like, if it's a rock climbing course or how to play music or how to start a business. Like, just start. Just start. There we go. Let's just start. So I say start. I say be curious because what you keep thinking about and what you keep asking about, I feel as though that's where your answers are. So if you're obsessed with the shoes, if you're obsessed with fashion, if you're obsessed with personal growth or
Smurfs,
right?
whatever it is,
Smurf it up.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary Vee. What a gem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he has inspired millions, and he does always say, just fucking start.
Yeah, just fucking start.
You know what I mean? So I guess my advice is stay curious and take inspired action.
Love it. Thank you, April.
Thank you, Kyla.
This was our first podcast. We just did it.
Or YouTube.
And YouTube video, yeah.
Yeah. We'll figure out how to edit it.
I should turn this off.
Okay. Thank you for joining.